Dip my shrimp.
Much for joining for tasting time. Hi, I'm Katie O'Reilly, and welcome to Katie's Food Carnival. This is my exciting episode that I call Deluxe College Bites. Now, where am I coming up with this, you wonder? Well, let me kind of back you up and bring you into my world a little bit. Back when I was deciding on where to go to college, being from the Midwest in Chicago, my dad always had the ambition for us to go to the East Coast for our colleges. And he kind of had the feeling that, like, if you're going to live somewhere for a couple of years, live somewhere else further away, experience it with the hopes that we'd all come home and live close to him. I do. I live in Chicago. Now, one of the big decisions in my life was what college. And when I was deciding, I was in a place in my life, I'm very artistic, very liberal, very accepting. I love people, I love their differences, and I love art. I also played the acoustic guitar, I love to paint and design things, and I loved food. So I landed in Ithaca, New York. Not at Cornell, but at Ithaca College. Ithaca College had a great history in music and the arts and liberal thinking, and a beautiful small personnel and student body that worked closely with us. So it was a beautiful experience. Now, within that experience, it also attracted friends and colleagues and other students within that student body that shared those common interests. Very quickly upon arrival at Ithaca, I met my two best friends, Lauren and Juliana. Now, for 3 years, because our junior year was spent elsewhere, we were pretty much close to inseparable. We don't always think the same way, we didn't study the same things, we didn't have the same background, but for some reason, we were so very accepting and embracing, and a deep friendship and love for each other. Now, what happens upon graduation? Well, unfortunately, it's time for a new chapter in your life. And like I said, I returned back to Chicago. And one of the biggest downfalls and downsides of going so far away to college was that I couldn't see my friends. I couldn't just jump down the block and say, hey, let's meet for coffee. And that hurts a lot. So you have to make up the difference and hope that that friendship survives. And luckily, I am in a position where I can stand here and tell you, even after years of not seeing each other, coming together is comfortable. It's like great friends, like we never left each other. And there's so much to talk about and catch up on. And that's where I introduce those deluxe college bites, because in college, there's comfort food. Food you don't have to think about. You really just want to be with your friends. But as adults, we want to bring that to a higher level. So what I've done is taken those beautiful items, but elevated them to a deluxe, more adult level. It's going to be a great episode of catching up and hearing of our experiences and growth over the years, and what has occurred and how we all come back together with this deep acceptance and love and friendship. I get to introduce you to Lauren Genovese and Juliana Carr. These are my two best friends from college, and this is Deluxe College Bites. So this is so fascinating. Now, Lauren and I haven't seen each other in 10 years, and Juliana and I haven't seen each other in 8 years, and you guys haven't even seen each other in the interim. So, I mean, really, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so even 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where there are gaps of years that go on when we can't even see each other. So I think that right now what I'd love to share with you is a little perspective, because when people go to college, they think oftentimes that they need to know exactly what they're going to do, who they're going to be, what they're going to become. And I think that all of us have discovered over the years that that's not always the case. That your path is a little bit more twisting and turning than that. So in this first part of catching up, we're going to talk about like where we are now. Okay, so Lauren, why don't you kind of catch us up?
All right.
Yeah.
Well, right now I have 4 jobs. So my life's a little chaotic with 4 jobs. I'm a preschool teacher. I also am a floral designer for myself and for another company. And I own a soy candle company.
Which is really cool. Great candles.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of just entrepreneurial chaos is what I would like to call it.
All right, so let's go back to like, what did you study in college, and what did you kind of like aspire to? Like, is this tapping into some of those like inner traits and things that you loved about yourself? Because
yes, well, oddly, I went to college for physical therapy.
Right.
Which is completely opposite of what I should have gone to college for. There was a lot of pressure from parents and et cetera.
That whole going in and knowing what you're going to do. If you get out with physical therapy, you'll be a physical therapist. Right. There you go. Right. So really good example of what we're talking about.
But if I really had thought about, or my parents had really thought about what would be the most appropriate thing for me, to be something in the arts.
Yeah.
Because that's really where my passion is and what I love to do. And so through trial and error, just finding things that I love to do. And by accident came into floral design. Helping a friend do a party, and just started getting phone calls after that. Who did this? Who did that?
Right.
And just found that I absolutely love the industry, and every single time it's different, so it taps into my creative spirit.
Right.
And it's very fulfilling in that regard.
All right, so now home life, okay, women, men, I would say it's not restricted to gender these days. Have a role in the home life. Now you have 2 kids at home and you're married.
Yes.
So there's a balance. So with 4 jobs kind of taking you all over, plus the kids, you want to be present with them.
Yes.
Now, granted, a lot of this work is most likely done when they're at school. Is that correct?
Yes, and a lot of it's done early in the morning.
Yeah,
like
those wee hours.
5 a.m.
Sleep isn't always like
Sleep's not
a priority in these days.
It is,
yeah,
because I crave the morning when it's silent.
Yeah,
I can get
the household's silent.
And so before my kids get up for school, I've already worked 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so that really helps a lot. By noon, I've put in 8 hours, and then sometimes I'll work again, often after they're in bed.
All right, so Juliana, a totally different. I told you that we were not all the same, which is the best, and I think that's what we've always treasured. But Juliana, tell us, what did you enter college for, and like where are you now? So a little different path.
So I went for communication disorders, and I lived with you guys, and I had so much.
Is there a connection there?
No, but I had so much more homework to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do that when I graduated from Ithaca.
Okay.
I wanted to.
That's important.
Do something. I wanted to go live abroad and teach English.
Okay. A great aspiration when you're just graduating college, because you're like, do I want to start life for real, or do I want to just go live in a foreign country and teach something simple?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a dream of a lot of people.
Yeah. That's what I thought I would be.
Yeah.
I thought I would be living in Asia somewhere teaching.
So you had grown up in Buffalo and then gone to North Carolina, so like a big difference there. Cultural shock a little bit from the to the east to the south.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we did get to travel a lot, which was what I wanted.
Yeah.
We lived in Anchorage. We lived in San Diego.
What was your job at the time?
I was always doing speech pathology because
Okay.
I had that degree. And
So you just kind of like went into it, even though like part of you was craving something different. You stayed with your major.
Yeah,
And just got into that career path.
But I went to grad school in North Carolina with
Okay.
a lot of really chill, cool people.
Nice.
People like me, they were interested in communication, but they were relaxed about it and collegial and concerned.
So bring us to where you are now, because I was really interested in that.
So when I lived in San Diego, I had to learn to speak Spanish, and we spent a lot of time in Mexico doing
Fun.
service work and things like that.
Have to go to Mexico.
Yeah, and so I learned communication in other languages, and so now that's the area that I'm interested in. Learning English, but also learning to communicate in your language. So I get to know a lot of features of other languages, and it's like detective work. It's not a creative thing, but it's very, I like to be like a detective, to figure out what's going on and to look at all, like the whole person, their family, their team.
You're experiencing children of people who are from countries that speak an extremely different language, like maybe a small dialect or something. What's the most challenging that you've kind of encountered? What are some of the more challenging?
Well, finding people to help translate can sometimes be hard. Sometimes you can read and write in that language, but you can't speak it, or you can speak that language and you can't read and write. And I have to take all of that into consideration.
And we were kind of talking last night when we just connected, and one of the things that I found fascinating is not only are you limited to language, but you kind of get into almost like a therapy and an overall perspective of the development of that child as well. In which case, language is the way that you can detect that, because if a child can't communicate, then there's something else below the surface that is definitely, or it can develop problems. So you're helping the child almost on a holistic level.
Yes.
You know, I was a philosophy and religion major. I did have a lot of work. You just didn't know I was doing it all the time. But I would say that one of the things that brought me is a richness and understanding and appreciation of people and their stories, which, yes, my passion is absolutely food, but my other passion is people and listening and hearing and giving people a voice. And that's one of the things where I've kind of designed my life to take all those things I love and make a career out of it. I've never really had that direct path of like, oh, hey, I've kind of always created my own life and said, this is what I'm going to do because this makes sense to me right now. And I don't know that I've always played by all the rules in terms of like, oh, the 9 to 5, sit behind a desk, do it my way. So it was really helpful for me to have a way of learning that could continue throughout my life. And I think philosophy and religion kind of brought that to me. And it's kind of all incorporated, and then food is just then like the whole time, just always developing.
It brings everyone together.
It really does. So it's like, it's kind of the same thing, because there's a philosophy behind food development too. And, you know, so it's all true. So all of us, like, we do such different things, but we all have that common bond of caring about others and listening and getting outside of ourselves, which I think is really important, is learning the basics of being a good human and having that human foundation, you know, to develop and then go somewhere. And I also think that element of giving back, I think all three of us have always had. And, you know, that's kind of one of those common grounds that we've met each other on always, is that there's that level of caring and genuine love and friendship. So, I mean, all super fun. This is our kind of catch up, but now we're going into tasting time, where I'm going to create the Deluxe College Bites, which are going to basically let us down and relax us so we can then kick back and catch up more personally. And we're going to bring you into that world while we're eating these. And the Deluxe College Bites are going to make you laugh, because they are things we ate in college with a little adult twist. Hi, Katie O'Reilly, KDO's Food Carnival, Deluxe College Bites. I think you get where I'm going to head with this one. One of the first things I thought about is, when my college friends are coming into town and I haven't seen them for so long, what do I want the food to be? And the truth is, I want the food to almost be like similar food, back burner, because I want conversation and good times. So I want the food to be really familiar. And the thing that we used to eat in college was ramen. And it's incredible how, as an adult, you can take ramen to a very deluxe and actually a healthy level. So here are some tips on that. The one thing is that the ramen noodles, you can buy them in an Asian store. They don't have to come in that little square packet, but they can. It doesn't really matter. Those are just fine. So the noodles you just cook separately. And I like to cook them in like just regular chicken broth or something. Then you cook down a broth. And I usually say, take your favorite Asian ingredients. Even if you start with either a chicken or a beef or a fish base broth, try to make it low sodium, and then add from there some flavors. You can cook it down with a little ginger, a little fish sauce. You can always do a little bit of, you know, sriracha if you want to make the broth itself spicy, Whatever you want to do in there, there's other lemongrass works, Thai basil, anything that you want to cook down into that broth and steep it for quite a while to infuse those flavors. Then drain any chunks of like ginger or anything you might have. So your broth is separate. Then we have an array of some of the most gorgeous vegetables that I love to add to ramen. I've got sliced mushrooms, tomatoes, scallions, corn, peas, baby bok choy, so cute, spinach works, all of these ingredients, and you can kind of go wherever you want to with this. You could do bean sprouts, all kinds of stuff that goes into a brothy soup. And then I shred chicken because I have a chicken base. So I'm going to show you really quickly. So here you are. Just envision you're having a little college reunion party at your house and you're saying, what do I make? You make your ramen. Don't shy away from the obvious. It's so easy. Little broth on there. And then people can kind of make it as soupy or not soupy as they like, because some people like ramen much more as noodles and some people like ramen much more as broth. So this leaves it up to you. Then I like, and I'm going to use my fingers because it's just me here. I'm going to do a couple mushrooms, a couple peas, a little bit of corn. I love the earthiness of the mushrooms. The scallion adds so much. I do like tomato because I like tomato in a lot of things. I know other people don't. The spinach, so fun because it wilts into your hot broth. And then I'm going to use my fingers and just, this is so cute and easy. And this is so tender. Baby bok choy is not like full-grown bok choy. This is a tender little crispy, crunchy vegetable that is just so beautiful. And it doesn't have a lot of flavor, but it has texture. And then your shredded chicken, little extra broth on top. Now, I did not add any spice to my broth because I wasn't sure, but I love sriracha. So I'm going to go ahead and open the bottle. That always helps. And add my own little funness. Oh, I do. I like sriracha. So, you know, it's really cute if you're well versed in chopsticks. So I say you have them out because it's a fun little party favor. But people, I'd also offer fork and spoon because you never know. You also don't want to be wearing it, but this is one of those things that I can't even make elegant. I'm just going to go for it because noodles dripping down your face when you're sharing that like intimate detail of your life and everything that just happened to you with your very best friends. I don't know. It just like takes the seriousness out of it. It's perfect. I mean, you're talking, you're chatting, you're like, and I'm going to take a bite of my ramen. I feel like I'm back in college because this is what we used to do. I used to see you with noodles all the time. But now, I'll be honest with you, it tastes better. I've come a long way since then, and I hope you have too. Honestly, pizza is like every college student's go-to no matter what. You always remember that town pizza or that local pizza or Domino's, even if it was Domino's, whatever it was in your college town, you remember. This is upgraded a little bit. This brings it into deluxe. I've got 4 different varieties for you, but you could just keep going. You can even have your own, build your own pizza party, but that's a little work. So what I say is do them in advance, freeze them even, make your dough, make your pizzas up, freeze them, break them out during your party. And I like to make them small. If you are going to use your own fresh dough, make them small like this so that you can have a couple of varieties. Because not everybody needs like a huge piece of pizza. The smaller pieces are so much more fun when you're kind of talking and you want some flavor and you're like, oh wait, I want a bite of that. Let me walk you through what the ingredients on top are. This is amazing. Okay. I'm going to actually start here because this is the most recognizable one. This is the caprese, which is just your fresh burst tomatoes, which are cherry tomatoes, kind of cooked down. They're set on top. Then I've got a tomato sauce base and mozzarella and fresh basil. Then just to jazz it up and deluxe it up a little bit more, a little aged like balsamic reduction. You just reduce your balsamic, make it a little thicker. This is so amazing. This is ooey gooey. This is everybody's classic vegetarian, but I mean, this is Italy. This is so yum. So this is definitely deluxe for college bites. The beauty of that, I can eat it, but it doesn't have to be my conversation. And that's important, is you want food that can, you know, your palate's like, wow, that's amazing. But you don't have to stop and go, oh, how did you do this? You know how I did it. I made pizza. This one is asparagus and prosciutto with a garlic cream. This is for people who do not handle tomatoes well or do not care for tomatoes. And this has a little Asiago and mozzarella. So this is beautiful. Now that's more mature because you've got your earthiness from your asparagus, your saltiness from your prosciutto. I like to chop the prosciutto small so it doesn't like pull off in those big strips. And your cheeses are definitely more mature. But blended with that creamy garlic, it is exciting in your mouth. It really is. It's like, wow, it is savory to the deep levels of savory. It is so amazing. Now, moving on, I'm going into a little bit more of a fruit mixed in. This one is pear and gorgonzola with caramelized onions. And the cheese, I usually keep the cheese pretty simple because there's gorgonzola in there, but I like to add a little mozzarella because you do need like that cheesy crust on top to make it really pizza-ish. But this is really fun, and if you have some pears that have some sweetness, they beautifully marry with that gorgonzola and those caramelized onions. And this is, like I said, gone from like traditional to acidic, kind of fun. You went really salty and savory. And now this is going kind of like in a different direction with introducing the fruit. There's like the pears, I slice them really, really thin. It's almost like that French pear tart that you might get. Caramelized onion. Yum. That's a good one. The last one I'm going to show you, and certainly I don't want to limit you to these, but these are some seriously good suggestions. This is apricot, brie, and slivered almonds. And I also add mozzarella to this, but there is brie and apricot and slivered almonds, okay? So the apricot is not just whole apricots. I reduce them down and make a puree because I can make sure I can manage the sugar, and you don't want like a whole apricot coming off. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for more of like the sweetness and to utilize that flavor. It's like when you make that baked brie with apricot on top. This is kind of the other rendition. We'll see you at tasting time. All right, once again, as promised, favorite time is tasting time. All right, ladies, deluxe ramen. Now this is deluxe college bites. Yeah, we all ate ramen, but we didn't eat it like this. The beautiful veggie array, all the fresh vegetables that you could ever envision in a soup that you enjoy. We do. Shredded chicken. You can always go beef if you want. You can go fish. I did a chicken base with the ramen noodles. And I suggest as we're talking, we just start adding. We have Thai basil, scallion, a little teriyaki, sesame seed, and some sriracha. So let's enjoy. But what we want to do as we're fixing up our ramen, because I've promised it is the comfortable food, is let's just talk about like some of the stuff that life has brought us that maybe was a little turn in the road or a little unexpected. I mean, we're all three married. We have Dante, Reed, and Jake, as we already mentioned.
Hi, Jake.
We have 2 kids. Hi, Jake. We have 2 kids for Lauren, Boone, of course, for Juliana and Jake. And then, as you know, I have the 4 kids. So together, we are in a situation where life is kind of taking us, and we have obligations not only to ourselves, but to a lot of others. So, as we dive in, ladies, please serve up. Let's talk about, does anybody want to start, like something that maybe has been an unexpected joy or an unexpected curve?
I didn't know I would be such a good boy mom.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Sisters, and I didn't really know what to do with boys. But I follow them and I videotape them as they do their extreme sports, and I'm running around chasing them.
Are you doing extreme sports too?
Okay, what are extreme sports?
Yes. What do you consider extreme? Let's hear it.
They both, skateboard and snowboard, and
Okay.
I never could learn to snowboard, but I can ski, so I can keep up with them.
Oh, that's
I'm
fun.
Still always the sweeper,
Okay.
but I can keep up with them, and we can do that together.
No, okay, Lauren, you have Dante and Ava. I'll take the sriracha and the
sure.
sesame seed.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
they're completely. They're still.
Ava being the older, the girl.
Ava's older. Ava will be visiting because her dream is to be a chef.
A pastry chef. So she's doing like baking and cooking and all kinds of fun things.
It's awesome, and she cooks for us all the time. And Dante is, he's like mechanical, very, very mechanical.
Okay.
He's a car guy all the way.
At 9.
At 9.
Too. We're
He
just
knows
going to tell the
everything
8,
about
yeah,
cars
because that's
that
super fun.
Anybody.
Little Dante Jr.
Dante.
Yeah.
And Big Dante is a car guy, so Big Dante is my husband, and Big Dante is a car guy. So they have their little bond. It's very, very cute. They go.
So is it sort of like girls versus boys in the household?
Sometimes we do Mommy and Ava Day, and Dante, the boys do their thing, because Ava and I, we can admire cars. We're not really
Going into the
it. We don't
mechanics of it.
We're not in the garage with them so much. But they love it. In fact, my husband was just racing in New Hampshire. He took his car and he went and did, when you go zero, you go like a quarter mile,
Oh, fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, super cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, so I have a girl as the oldest, then I have 3 boys, but I have a girl dog and a husband. So we've tried to balance it as much as possible, but forget about it on football.
Yeah.
I kind of get overruled in the football season. Everything else, everybody's pretty accepting. We have enough floors where, like, if somebody needs to watch sports, they'll kind of go in their own world.
Yeah.
Everybody's very respectful. So we've actually embraced football with food and other things. Or Lindsay and I'll just go shopping.
Yeah, it's good.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
And there's always TV. I mean, a football game is like 3 hours. They're not watching every sport team the whole day. Okay, so ramen. Are we feeling deluxe with this ramen? Because we're about to move on to our next beautiful bite. Pizza.
Yay.
Okay, so this is not our college pizza. I think, wasn't it Rogan's? That was like the delivery place on the campus. So that's kind of the throwback. Yeah. That was your traditional, but it was still homemade. Like, that was still a pretty decent pizza. Yeah. But what I've got here is some artisan pizzas. And I'm going to share with you what they all are, but then also my inspiration, because it's kind of from Ithaca. So, okay, your traditional burst cherry tomatoes, basil, and just mozzarella. So yummy. It's drizzled with a little balsamic to give it a little kick. It's so good. We make our own crust, which is fabulous. This is prosciutto, asparagus, and then a creamy garlic leek sauce. And it's got a little mozzarella on there for, gooiness. Then we go into a pear and gorgonzola with caramelized onion, which is headed kind of into that fruit variety. And then this one is your play on apricot, brie, and almond. And as we're all enjoying, I'm going to tell you, okay, so the inspiration behind the variety here, which is so fun. Take a piece, guys. Go anywhere you want.
I want to go there.
Do you remember in Ithaca there was this place that opened, I think, our senior year, and it was like a New York by the slice pizza place that had like
lines down the street.
Lines down the street for sure, but they had like 16 varieties of pizza when you'd walk in, and it was a different thing, and they'd use whatever fun ingredients, and you get like a huge piece, and sometimes we'd want because it would be like, I want your piece of artichoke, and I want your piece of sausage. Well, you were vegetarian, so it wasn't sausage. Artichoke and sausage. They're like so many fun things, and this is kind of where I'm going with it. Super yum, isn't it?
I've never put... What's on this again?
Leek.
It's asparagus, prosciutto, and then garlic leek and mozzarella.
I've never put asparagus on a pizza, but I definitely will.
I love asparagus because it's earthy, and with prosciutto, it just kind of has a really perfect balance. And I like to chop the prosciutto really small so you're not like
Right, sure.
standing there talking and you're like, whoa, all the toppings come right off, because prosciutto does get pretty chewy.
I'm dying to try the apricot.
Well, you do that.
I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going in.
And we're going to watch your facial expression as you do.
With the almonds.
Would you put a piece of leek on there for me?
I certainly can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They'll go here as well. Yeah.
So you made... What's so great? The almonds.
Yeah. A little
Nice little
crunch.
surprise underneath, you know?
Apricot almond, like a dessert pizza.
I like this pear too, especially when you're kind of headed into fall. And the gorgonzola is a little bit less aggressive for the palate for some people than blue can be, because blue has like a full range depending on its age. You know, blue can be really sharp if it wants to be. So when you're using gorgonzola, you usually get a lighter, if you're cooking especially or mixing it into something, you get something that's a little lighter of a flavor profile. It still has those elements for people who do enjoy the flavor, but I always have to watch it because it's about 50% of my clients that come in that either love or hate blue cheese. You know what I mean? Like 50% have a strong opinion one way or the other.
What about brie? Does everyone like brie?
Very rarely do people not like brie, and goat is usually really agreeable for people. Feta is too salty a lot of times, unless you like really love Greek food, but it can be too salty. So it's like you kind of have to get that vision of what people's flavor profiles, what it's speaking to them. So this is fabulous, and I thank you so much for joining in our deluxe college bites.
Yummy.
Yeah, as you can see, we all love food, we love each other, and we love our friendship over food, which is exactly where you should be with your friends. So until we see you in the next episode, have a beautiful day.
Bye.